Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. I'm here, Joe, of course, for the news this morning. The day is Friday, the 10th of April. Like I've said in these wartime broadcasts, I am going to be giving us the day every day, just in case people forget, just in case people get too drunk the night before and can't remember exactly where we are. But it's Friday. Good Friday as well, actually. Hang on a sec. Why do they call it Good Friday? What happened? Jesus died. Good Friday. Doesn't sound right to me. Anyway, someone's saying, what's the update? I'll get into the update. We're going to be looking at Fabrizio Romano, who, in fairness to him, is one of the most patient men that I've ever seen on Twitter. The amount of Sancho. If you look at his mentions, you look at his tweets, you look at his timelines, the amount of times that people asking for an update on Sancho, the amount of times people asking for transfer updates from all clubs, not just United, not just Sancho, and the sort of positivity and patience with which he approaches his replies and approaches his fans is quite admirable. So we're going to be looking at that. We're also going to be looking a little bit about an update potentially on player contracts and how that is going to work amid the current climate that we're in at the moment. So we'll come to that in a little bit. Obviously, let's start off, of course, then with Jadon Sancho. Let's get that up on the screen. And this is, like I said, from Fabrizio Romano. He's on Twitter replying to someone saying, probably unlikely due to the pandemic, but any advances on Sancho to United? That's what someone said to him. He said, need to wait for Sancho, mate. When Borussia will start talks to sell Sancho, you'll be updated. It's just April and no one knows if football will restart this summer, how much they can spend. Wink emoji. Now, it's just a little update. I mean, it's got 1,000 likes. 1,000 likes on that little update, just any mention of Sancho at all. But I think the key thing to talk about there is when Borussia will start talks to sell Sancho, you'll be updated. It's not if they're, I think he is suggesting there, and he's basically stating that Sancho will be sold this summer. And that goes along with a long list of journalists and reporters and stuff that are saying that Sancho will be sold this summer. Again, because it's a direct reply to someone asking about United, it also adds another level of kind of suggestion and clarity potentially on the fact that he's saying talks will be had and start talks to sell Sancho to United, seemingly, at least as far as he's aware. Again, we've seen him before in the past talking a couple of weeks ago about the fact that United are interested in Jadon Sancho, and again here, when Borussia Dortmund start talks to sell Sancho, you will be updated. So. Again, it's not this huge update. It's not him coming out and saying that this deal is going to be done. But again, it's the first suggestion that I think I've seen him make that he's saying that Sancho to United, those talks are expected to take place. The fact that United want to buy Sancho is now being translated into the idea of Dortmund selling Sancho as well, which obviously those two things are connected in theory. But there are plenty of times when United want to buy someone or any club wants to buy someone and the other club's like, no, I'm not selling him. For example, Jadon Sancho to Manchester United last summer when, as far as I'm aware, United were interested in signing him. We approached Dortmund and they were like, it's not happening next summer or potentially next autumn, whatever it will be. But just because United are interested doesn't mean that Dortmund are interested in selling. But again, when Borussia Dortmund start talks to sell Sancho, you will be updated. So that suggests to me that these talks are expected to take place, or at least certainly by him. He's suggesting there that these talks are more of a when, not an if, which is obviously good news. And obviously that's something that United fans can look forward to. It's one of those things, isn't it, where you don't want to get your hopes up too much, but this has gone on for so long now. And also, it's April the 10th. There's no football, there's no games, there's none of that stuff to sort of talk about at the moment. So the likes of Fabrizio Romano are probably getting pestered even more than usual about these transfers because, in theory, that is something that can be conducted now. We've seen Hakim Ziyech already been confirmed on a pre-contract agreement to join Chelsea in the summer. So, in theory, transfers can be made now. But, of course, they can't be made official until the 1st of June, is it? I think it's the 1st of June. Or maybe the 1st of July. Someone here, Peter Butler. Not that one. I'm going to click on a comment and the comments scroll up and then I miss it. Peter Butler saying, United seem to have a clear run at Sancho. Liverpool and Chelsea won't get involved at the prices being mentioned. Yeah, I did see that as a report yesterday as well. Again, like I just mentioned, Chelsea have signed Ziyech as well, who's a right winger. I think he's left-footed, but he plays in the same position as Jadon Sancho. Chelsea already have Willian. They already have Hudson-Odoi. On that side, they've got Pedro as well, who obviously I know him and Willian are both getting on a little bit now, but they've certainly got numbers in those areas. Whereas United, name a right winger that United have. I guess Dan James, but I think he's better off the left. That's it. If you're even including Dan James, who again I would call a left winger and a good one as well. Do you see? There's a good question actually. Anish Joshi, do you see us buying any bargains like Dan James this summer? I don't know, because we weren't linked with Dan James until about 2 weeks before we signed Dan James. Because it's a smaller signing. I think Bellingham is this when you look at the sort of stature of a player in terms of performances and games played, he and Dan James both have a similar kind of experience level. The difference is Dan James is 5 years older than Bellingham. So, Jude Bellingham is 16 or was 16 at the start of the season, and Dan James was 21 when we signed him. So when a player who's played a full season in the Championship, who's 21, who looks exciting, who's very quick, who's got good feet, that kind of thing, and Dan James, when you buy him, he's 15 million quid. And when you buy the same kind of talent, but they're 5 years younger, he's 16 years old and he's doing, brilliant things in the Championship. That's why you're looking at this sort of 30, 40 kind of £1 million talk for Jude Bellingham, despite him being a child. Joel Page there, great question. How much would you sell a strand of your hair for? £5? To a maximum of 4 strands, because I don't want it to be all choppy. Get rid of it or keep it, but I don't want to cut, half of it off. Any word on Paddock third kit? Well, we are in the process of looking at an away kit and buying an away kit. We know the one we like, but there's a bit of a problem at the moment with people not, suppliers and distributors and stuff. With the current situation, it's not really essential work, so I think there's maybe a bit of an issue there. But as soon as we know anything, we will let you know about that. This is Connor Allen. Joe, can you update me, bro? Just joined. Yes, I will update you. We're looking at Fabrizio Romano tweet today. He was talking about, actually it was last night, sorry, in the evening last night. We need to wait on Sancho. When Borussia Dortmund starts talks to sell Sancho, you will be updated. It's just April and no one knows if football will restart this summer, when and how much they can spend. But again, the key phrase in there, and then Fabrizio Romano and anyone at this level, journalists in general are very good at picking the way they phrase things, as we talk about a lot on here. There was a suggestion the other day about they'll say something like Jadon Sancho was a target for Man United, and then Jadon Sancho is ready to sign for United, and then it'll say underneath United were also keen on this player, and you think, oh, they're both ready to sign, when actually the way they phrase things is that the first person is actually much more close to signing, and the second one is just being linked to the first person to make you think that all of these signings are more likely. That's a bit of a bad example, but you kind of know what I mean. Journalists are very astute at phrasing and the sentence structure to suggest things without sort of plainly stating things, because when you say things that aren't true, that's when you get into a bit of bother. But when you sort of link things together in ways that suggest certain things without actually stating them, that's how they make their money a lot of the time. So the likes of Fabrizio Romano, the likes of journalists generally, are very sure and very certain about the way they phrase things. And again, which is why I'm going into such, getting a bit of a sort of solace from the fact that he's saying when Borussia Dortmund will start talks to sell Sancho, you will be updated. Which again, the suggestion there is he thinks it's a when, not an if, on the sort of the selling front. And again, that was a comment. He was replying to a tweet, a comment, someone asking specifically about Sancho to United. So it wasn't what's the update on Sancho? It was any advances on Sancho to United. You need to wait for Sancho. When Dortmund start talks to sell Sancho, you will be updated. So that's what we're looking at today. Again, it's kind of slim pickings at the moment with transfers, but the one thing that is clear, United are interested, Dortmund are willing to sell, and Sancho, again, from all reports. There's even more that came out yesterday, which, I don't always put everything in here because some of it's, the sources are spurious, or you're not exactly sure where things came from or who's reporting what, but there were talks about how United are the only club willing to pay the price for Sancho at the moment. And someone in the comments referred to that before, talking about Liverpool and Chelsea looking elsewhere and perhaps, turning their nose up at at the idea of paying that kind of money. And there's also another report that was talking about how much Sancho likes Manchester, and you just kind of think, does he? Yeah, okay. Not that he wouldn't, but how do you know? Do you like Manchester? He's going back then. Again, it's just who really knows. Someone saying there's Sancho, Bellingham, and I'd be well happy. Yeah, me too. And maybe another midfielder as well. I think even if we keep Paul Pogba, we could do the defensive midfielder personally. This isn't true, but Lukewarm says, had to have water with me cornflakes today, lads. Truly hard times. That is what, if unless you mean cow water, I don't believe you. When is the next late night live planned for, mate? Love the madness of that show. Every Friday at 10 p.m, and that includes tonight. So tonight o'clock at 10 p.m. Will be late night live, of course. A bit of fun, a bit of a laugh, something to get us through these difficult times. Let's move on to our second story then. And I don't have a banner for this one because this one just was being reported very shortly before we went live, so I didn't have a chance to get a banner. And this one is from Sky Sports, talking about how Premier League players can walk away from their clubs on June 30th, says a leading sports lawyer. Nick DeMarco, QC, sounds like a TV show, insists FIFA's recommendations of contract extensions cannot be enforced under English employment law. Now, this has come after a few days ago where FIFA and UEFA have suggested that, these contracts that are meant to end on the 30th of June, they'll be all right. You can keep using those players. A leading sports lawyer says out-of-contract players in England can ignore FIFA proposals and leave their clubs at the end of June, even if the season has not resumed. Nick DeMarco, who's represented sports governing bodies, players, clubs and agents since 2002, says players will be entitled to walk away from their clubs if contracts expire on June 30th. Now, this has been something that we've been kind of half talking about and mentioning and looking at from a distance for a few months now, ever since this whole thing started. You just kind of think, surely they can't just ask them to stay or they can't make them play. Like, these are obviously not EU anymore, but, British regulations and, like you said, British employment law there. You can't just say, I know your contract runs out then, but will you keep playing? Basically putting footballers on 0 hours contracts. Who'd have thought, eh? There you go, there's your headline. Footballers on 0 hours contracts, if things are to go the way they are suggesting they will. But yeah, it's an interesting one because I was just looking at United squad. Timothy Fosu-Mensah, who reportedly signed a new deal yesterday, and Odion Ighalo are the two that would run out in terms of people leaving Manchester United. Ighalo's set to run out on the 30th of June. After that was extended by a month, again, around a week or so ago. But the interesting thing is, Chris Smalling, Marcus Rojo, Alexis Sanchez. Now, they're all players that will be coming back to Man United.
To play Sanchez, right?
No, I can't say Sanchez's first name because she starts talking to me. I'm scared of her. She really rules the roost in this house. Do you want me to play? No, I don't. Sanchez, Smalling, and Rojo will all be coming back potentially to Man United. And I think maybe Rojo and Sanchez probably won't be getting a game. But the likes of Chris Smalling, if we have a couple of injuries in defence and you get someone like that back who's been arguably one of the better centre-backs in Serie A this season, it's going to be a very strange situation seeing these players come back from loan, seeing new, potential new people coming in. And I wonder if it'll be a case of it's up to the player. I wonder if it'll be, up to Man United, whether they can just recall someone from a loan, even when Roma are trying to replay or sort of finish off their season. Whether United will say, you know what, Eric Bayer's got injured again, Victor Lindelof's injured, we're taking Chris Smalling off here. And I wonder how that will affect things, because that's going to be, it's not just United who's in that boat. There's a lot of clubs with players loaned out or players loaned to them and players running out of contract that won't want to not have their players by the end of the season. But if you were a player and you've been promised to move somewhere else and your contract runs out, would you keep playing for, when essentially you could be getting injured and you're actually out of contract? It's a very strange situation to be in. Someone says Bundesliga is coming back in May. Football is back. We'll see about that. Isn't Gomez's contract up in the summer? Yes, it is, but I think the reason it's not shown on that website is because it's a youth contract. I don't know if he's actually signed his official contract as an adult, but maybe he did. But yeah, that's another good one. Gomez. Not that he's been playing too much for United, but it'll be interesting to see, whether he leaves without us ever playing another game. Very strange. But yeah, Bundesliga coming back in May, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Offer Sancho Balti pies on his contract and he'll sign instantly. This is by Balti Pie. Bit of insider trading there, is there? You want to know whether Sancho's got a Balti Pie clause in his contract, and if he has, you're going to sell, aren't you? Unbelievable. I can't say her name, but yeah, she is. I feel like I'm some sort of like beaten husband. If I say her name, she'll come in and she'll ruin the video. Sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's going to be all for us. Can we get Stretford Paddock Cod Sesh? Do you know what? That's a good point that you mentioned there. We are doing memberships on Stretford Paddock now, and to help the channel, to help give you extra content if you would like to do that. And one of the tiers, we will be offering a chance to play us on FIFA, a chance to play us on COD. So we're going to be looking into doing that very soon. We're going to be putting posts on the members section of the YouTube. So if you're a member already, look out for the next day or two. We're going to be putting the members video up there. We're going to be putting a lot of posts and a lot of interaction with you lot, so we can really get that feeling like a proper little hub there, so that everyone feels involved. There's been quite a lot on, as you can imagine, recently, but we're really going to be stepping that up and getting those exclusive videos out very soon. And potentially, you can choose. You can play us on COD. You can play us on FIFA. We can have a little Warzone session together. Just depends. But again, click at the little join button. Look at the tiers, see what you fancy, and if you want to help the channel out and get loads of extra fun stuff, there's your chance. Again, like I said, we're going to be back tonight for Late Night live here at 10 p.m. So be sure to tune in for that. Hey, I missed the Sancho news update. Can you repeat that? Yes, I can. That is Fabrizio Romano saying that we need to wait on Sancho news. But when Borussia Dortmund start talks to sell Sancho, you'll be updated. Suggestion there again that this is a matter of when and not if. And that was in relation to United directly as well. So the signs are looking good. Let's be a little bit tentative, a little bit cautious, because I don't like getting too excited in case we don't sign him and then I have to cry because we end up with someone who we don't like. But luckily, we'll all be in it together, won't we, lads? So let's see what happens, and we'll take it from there. And like I said, back again tonight for Late Night Live at 10 p.m. Please do tune in for that. A bit of levity, a bit of lightness, a bit of what can we call it? A sort of sunshine through the clouds in what has been a sort of serious few weeks up until now. So that'll be good tonight. So do tune in for that. Thank you for joining me today. Have a lovely day, everyone. Again, it's the 10th of April, Friday. Don't forget that. Don't lose track of the days, because that is the first slip into madness. We'll see you next time.